All right, guys, George here. So we're gonna I'm working on some more caches. Uh, Takes time to gather up some of the stuff, but the biggest issue is making sure I've got buckets. Right now, I've got a shortage of buckets and a shortage of containers of what I'm trying to put together for caches. So we're doing different size caches, geocaches. Um, just so to note, like I said, I'm trying to be as thorough as I can with my caches. This is a old beef jerky container. Again, classic example of some of the different containers I use. And I've used peanut butter jars and I've used protein powder plastic jugs. So like this one, for instance, it's going to be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. This one's just going to be filled with disposable cutlery, individually wrapped disposable cutlery that I get basically for free at different restaurants and truck stops. I always grab extra. Like I said, a container like this, I'll be sealing this up with some silicone caulk, and like I said, and then wrapping that up with like a grocery bag. But like I said, it's just different things. Got another container right here. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to put, everything I'm going to put in here. I might take this out, but we'll probably fill this up with like packets of like tuna and packets of chicken, maybe a couple small canned goods. I don't know, maybe strictly the ones with the pull tops. But anyhow, so just so we can prove, like I said, I don't just talk about this stuff, I am about it, try to be about it. So I've got a couple of first aid kits here. I'm not going to pull everything out of these first aid kits, but I'm just trying to show you how packed these things are. So, got a little bit of everything in these. I picked these boxes up at a local antique and vintage shop that sells a little bit of everything, vintage items, antiques, some military surplus stuff. But I've got quick clotting sponge, bleed stop in this one, and a stethoscope along with a blood pressure cuff, and like one of those instant cold pack compression little pack things. I've also got bottle tums and some other odds and ends for medications like allergies and stuff like that, because I get allergies. I'm definitely allergic to poison ivy, so I've got stuff specifically for treating poison ivy, poison oak. This one's also got some of the same stuff. It doesn't have a stethoscope, although it's got a lot more like bandages and gauze pads and stuff like that, rolled gauze. I've got a little bit of rolled gauze in this one and some of the smaller bandages. I've also got Band-Aids in that. We've got nitrate gloves. And like I said, everything I package up, if it's not already wrapped up in some kind of plastic, I will put it inside of like a little zipper like sandwich bag or something like that. Just protect everything. Like I said, I got some of this liquid skin in this one, and I got some in that one as well. Like I said, just small items. It's really hard to get everything into one particular first aid kit container just because these things are so damn small, and there's just so many different items that I would like to have, but I can't. It's just it's like I said, this is kind of a game of lifeboat. It's like pick the most important items. What do you want in here? And then everything else you leave out because there's no room. So I'm gonna go see about going back to that antique store maybe next weekend and see if they got a couple more of these boxes, and I might just buy them. I would like to have. I've already got one first aid box already geocached at my location, my secondary location. I'm gonna geocache these with it. All I'm gonna do with these is put a little bit of Vaseline, because those got rubber gasket seals on those lids. Put a little bit of Vaseline on the gasket seals, and then I've got these vacuum storage bags. I'm going to see if I got the largest one and see if I can get both of those first aid kits vacuum sealed together in one of these bags. And I might even like vacuum seal it in such a way. So I got these washcloths right here. Maybe put a couple in between, you know. Vacuum seal it like that with maybe some dude wipes. I don't know. Like I said, we'll get that figured out. And like I said, that vacuum seal bag along with the gaskets themselves, those should be enough to keep water intrusion, keep moisture from, you know, trying to come into the container. I'm also going to wrap the, you know, like I said, the vacuum storage bag won't be the only thing keeping them protected. I'm going to wrap them up with some heavy mill plastic contractor bags. Like I said, that's going to be one of the caches I'm working on. I'll move the camera over here. This is the other cache. So I'll go ahead and unpack this real quick. Again, this is going to be silicone sealed on this lid. I might even put a little duct tape on as well. So I like to save my cereal boxes, so I like to cut out little cardboard inserts. What I like to do is like put them in here. And the point is when I go to put that silicone caulk on, like the right in here, I want to try to keep as much of that excess caulk from making contact with the items I'm trying to protect here. Like I said, this might not be your idea for geocaches, but this is mine. Like I said, I got different items. So I got the single-use travel-sized little Tide packets. I think I got like 6 or 7 of these right here. All right. I've got tons of these garlic herb roasted Starkist single chickens. Okay. And none of this is canned goods, so a lot of this stuff is just meant to be stuff that I can just rip open and just eat straight out of the packet. I got extra batteries, even though there's no flashlight in this one. I've already got flashlights packed away in the others. So I got different flavors of refried beans. These are a little bit more expensive than the canned version. Like, I know a lot of people say, why spend extra money on these when you just buy the 10 ones cheaper? Well, these taste better than the ones that come out of the can. And 2, I've actually got different flavors here. So different kinds of beans. So Mayakoba refried beans. I got black beans. This one's just regular pinto. And like I said, these taste better. There's actually a little bit more moisture in them, a little bit more water, so they're not as dry. And like I said, I can just eat them straight. I don't even have to heat them up. Where the ones that come out of the tin, they taste better if you heat them up. So like I said, I got quite a few of these. I'll probably do is I'll pause this and do some movie magic. Like I said, that's these. Like I said, I'd say it's about 40% food or so on this one. Stick of deodorant, because I don't remember packing a stick of deodorant in any of the other caches. I did pack 2 peanut butter jar size caches full of the hotel bars of soaps. I saved my hotel soaps. These are extra socks. These are socks that are actually issued to me back when I was in the Navy. So these are socks that I haven't been wearing, so they've been sitting in the closet. So what better use than put it in a cache? These are Navy issue undershirts that I'd wear underneath my Navy working uniform blouse. What I did was I've rolled up a single pair of underwear and a pair of socks into each of these t-shirts. So it's 2 t-shirts, 2 pairs of underwear, and 2 pairs of socks. These are extra tennis shoes that I have not been wearing. They're still good, okay? Still got plenty of life. The key thing is these are broke in because I've already worn them. And then I've put a couple pairs of compression shorts in here. These are compression shorts I have not been wearing, but I figured, nothing else, I can I'm not going to throw them out, so I'll just use them in the cache. Got another sock. This is one of those watch caps. This was actually one that I got when I was as a souvenir when I was visiting New York City, right around during New Year's, back as a MWR trip for the Navy. So, but like I said, that's the different items I've got in here, and like I said, I've got other caches where I pack clothes in with food. So I'm gonna try to pack this back in here. So I'm gonna do a little bit of movie magic. Give me a moment. Okay, so I got all that back in. I'm just gonna put this back on for now. Like I said, we won't be bearing any of this stuff today. It's probably gonna be either next weekend or a couple weekends from now. Yeah, like I said, I do this because I don't want to keep all my eggs in one basket. So just gonna stage some extra stuff at a secondary location. It'll be enough to keep me sustained for a couple months, but it won't be able to keep me sustained for indefinitely. Now the idea is like, just like those cat litter buckets I use. Again, this one being no different. So I'll have those lids silicone caulked on. I will actually have this bucket wrapped up with the contractor grade garbage bag. Again, the garbage bag really isn't there to keep the water out of the bucket, because the water integrity of this bucket is actually entirely dependent upon the bucket, the silicone caulk, and the bucket being inverted upside down. That's what I like to do with all my buckets when I bury them. Some people like to bury their bucket sideways because it acts like a culvert and it distributes the weight, which is an understandable argument. But for me, my argument is if the seal of your lid, the integrity of your lid becomes compromised, at the very least, as long as the shell of the bucket doesn't crack, with the bucket being inverted upside down, it will trap a pocket of air, and it should keep a lot of the water from trying to intrude up into the bucket. So that's why I like to. That's how I'm going to do this. Anyhow, I think I have let this run on long enough. I'm out.